My name is Charlie McGrath. I'm the founder of WideAwakeNews.com and a host on the Rinse Radio Network. Edward Snowden shocked the world with the revelation that the security and military-industrial complex could care less what the Constitution of the United States of America has to say. They'll rewrite it, they'll engineer around it, they'll executive order their way through it, they'll pass one act after another declaring that they have to destroy liberty in order to give you safety. Benjamin Franklin warned us of this, and it is coming to pass. Absolutely no question about it. What is more shocking than the absolute degradation of freedom and privacy and the Constitution in this country is the lack of attention span of the people of this country. Just a few months ago, this information was released, and most people are moving on to the pop culture infotainment news of the day. Be it immigration, be it gay marriage, be it the NFL preseason, whatever, anything and everything other than the destruction of freedom and the destruction of the future of the nation, the United States of America. Today we find out that one Ladar Levinson, he founded a website on the heels of 9/11 because of the Patriot Act that was written pre-9/11. He had the foresight to understand that there's going to be people that would want to send information securely. So he started a company, Lavabit, an encryption service, email service that would make it virtually impossible for anybody to read email communication. So a dozen years later, what's the situation? Well, Ladar Levinson, true entrepreneur, small businessman, 10,000 subscribers, roughly $100,000 a year in income over at Lavabit. Edward Snowden happened to be one of his customers. Edward Snowden used this service in order to contact journalists, in order to contact other media outlets, and send information. So for his trouble, because he's not willing to sell out and be like the other big corporate entities that are signing up to be part of PRISM, he was approached by the government and said, you must give us information on the people who use your service. Now, he admits that in the past he's had court orders that he has followed asking for specific users in specific instances to see their information. But what he's being asked for now isn't that. It's complete and total information of the 10,000 allegedly people that are signed up for this service. So rather than capitulate and join the PRISM program, rather than capitulate and give away the information of the 10,000 people that trust him, he decided to shut it down. But that doesn't stop the government from still continuing to threaten him, saying just by talking about it, he might have violated some of the laws, the federal laws, that prohibit him from doing so. His ACLU lawyer that is defending him said it's almost impossible to defend even an accusation because they don't know the charges against him. They don't even know the full extent of the demands against Lavabit. All they know is their client has had to shut down their enterprise and cannot say anything to anybody because he's dealing with a tyrannical police state. I'm editorializing the end of that. This is the trajectory of our nation in full for everything. Look, every piece of information we know, every piece of electronic information you send, the metadata is kept. You have no privacy, period. End of story. Michael Hayden, former director of the NSA, he equates people such as myself or any other activist or any other transparency group to be nothing more than Al-Qaeda-style terrorists. In fact, in a recent piece that was released, quoted by him, he said, we don't know where these hackers, activists, transparency groups, we don't know what they're going to consider to be their World Trade Center, their Al-Qaeda-style target. See, if you stand up for freedom, you stand up for liberty, you stand up for the Constitution, or for your fellow American who's not completely sold out to this patriotism that is completely, totally generated out of fear, generated out of terror, not terror by folks overseas, but by our own government. If you stand aside from the propaganda of the day, you are being labeled nothing but a terrorist. Look, this is where we're at, not where we're going. This is where we're at. A video I'll attach to this one shows a colonel who was served in Iraq, in Fallujah, who was at a town hall meeting in Massachusetts, who brought the situation as it is to bear to this city council meeting. He said that when he was in Fallujah, the equipment that they used, the up-armored vehicles, the bulletproof vests, the M16s, M4s, the complete garb of war that was in Fallujah is now apparently in every police force, every SWAT team, every state police, local police across this nation. Our government is building out a private military through private police forces, through these that are not attached to the Department of Defense, because they're afraid of the citizens of this country rising up. Why would we rise up? Why would we push back all of a sudden? Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way. In 2000, we had 17 million people who were on food stamps. In the year 2013, we have nearly 48 million people who rely on the government just for food. Over 50% of the people in this country rely on this same government to put food on their table because they receive a check from them every single month. More than half the households, more than half the people you know, have a check coming to them from government. This is absolute utter control. And when you want to unleash a tyrannical police state, when you want to unleash authority of a tyrannical police state, you shut off the spigot. You shut off the control mechanism. And when you shut off that mechanism, what are you going to have? Riots in the street. When you have a situation where the government of this country can lie to its people nonstop 24/7, and that lie will lead to invading other nations, killing other people around this world, and nonstop over a decade of prosecuting a war that is impossible to win, even though this colonel will point out, we have not had 10 terrorists together in one spot in this country since 9/11, and any of the apparatus and any of the militarization of the police force that we have now would not have prevented that attack in the first place. When you have a nation that is at that point, at that tipping point, inevitably it is going to tip and there is going to be pushback. This is why we see a build out of the security industrial complex that demands complete and total and unquestioned obedience to the authority of that government. This is why people like Ladar Levinson can have a small business and be absolutely crushed, while a compliant Google or Yahoo will sit back, look at the bottom line, and say, yes, we will sign up. We will go in partnership with the government to spy on the people of this nation. We will collude industry with government. And it has one word, and it's fascism. And this is where we are. And it promises to get far, far worse. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake your friends, your family, and your neighbors up. Because listen, if you know your neighbor next door on both sides of you, chances are one of them is dialed in to this control apparatus, because chances are one of them is receiving a direct check from the government. Those same two neighbors, it is 100% guaranteed their information, their security, their privacy is being eroded by the wants of a tyrannical, dictatorial government, putting a boot heel on its neck of freedom. This is where we're at. This is where we're going. Please wake up. Wake as many up as you can. You know, there's great men out there like Paul Craig Roberts who says that we've already passed the tipping point. I don't know if that's true or not. I do know this. Things are continuing to stagnate and get worse. It's time to wake up and spread the truth. Stories are attached. That's all I got.